The night was dark, and the alien forest glowed with soft blue lights that floated like tiny fire spirits in the air. Every leaf sparkled with a strange shimmer, as if the trees were alive and watching. Evan, a human explorer, walked slowly through the tall grass, holding a small scanner in his hand. The device beeped again and again, telling him his lost drone was close. Evan had been on this planet for only 3 weeks, but he already knew one thing. Nothing here was normal. The plants moved when there was no wind. The ground sometimes pulsed, like it had a heartbeat. And in the distance, he often heard strange growls that didn't belong to any known creature. Still, he was not afraid. He had survived tough missions before, but tonight felt different. As he moved deeper into the forest, the air grew colder. The glowing plants dimmed. Even the wind seemed to stop. Evan felt a sudden heaviness in his chest, as if the forest was warning him not to go further. Then he heard it, a soft sound. A tiny cry. It echoed between the trees like a whisper carried by fear. Evan froze. He listened carefully. The cry came again, a small, shaky voice filled with pain and terror. He raised his flashlight and followed the sound. His boots crushed, glowing seeds under his feet, making the ground sparkle with every step. The crying grew louder. It was not an animal. It was not an adult voice. It was a child. Evan pushed aside a thick curtain of tall grass and saw a small figure curled on the ground. It was an alien child, no taller than his waist. Its skin was light green and slightly transparent, glowing softly like moonlight through glass. The child shook violently, its eyes wide with fear. When it saw Evan, it gasped and stumbled backward. But instead of running away, the child stared at him with desperate, trembling eyes. For a moment, neither of them moved. The forest stayed silent. Then the child suddenly ran toward him. It grabbed his arm with tiny, cold fingers and cried out, "Please, human. My mom won't survive the trap." The voice was full of panic. Tears rolled down the child's cheeks like small drops of light. Evan's heart tightened. He had met alien adults before, but never a child. And never one this frightened. What trap? Evan asked softly. The child looked over its shoulder toward the deeper, darker part of the forest. "Please, please come. She is dying. She is trapped. She cannot escape." The child tugged his arm, trying to pull him forward. Evan hesitated. He had no idea what kind of trap it was talking about. He didn't know if this was real or some kind of danger for him. But something in the child's eyes, something pure and helpless, told him this was no trick. "All right," he said. "Take me to her." The child nodded quickly and began running. Evan followed, moving fast between strange glowing bushes and tall, twisting trees. Every few seconds, the ground shook softly under his feet, as if something large was walking nearby. Evan kept one hand on his tool belt, ready for anything. The child looked back at him again and again, making sure he was still following. "Hurry, human, she doesn't have time." They ran down a narrow path covered in silver leaves. The trees above them bent inward, blocking the sky. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the tree bark, symbols Evan had never seen before. Then suddenly, clang! A loud metallic snap echoed through the forest. Evan stopped instantly. The child screamed. "That is the trap." It closed again. Evan felt a cold chill crawl up his spine. He didn't know who made these traps, or why. But he could tell from the sound that they were strong, maybe strong enough to crush metal. As they moved closer, a low growling noise came from somewhere behind them. Evan turned sharply, scanning the trees. He saw nothing. But he felt eyes watching him from the darkness. "Faster," the child begged. "She will die." Evan tightened his grip on his flashlight and followed the child toward the source of the terrible sound. Deep in the shadows, something waited, something dangerous, something that had set the trap, and Evan knew he was walking straight into It's territory. But he kept going, because a child's mother was fighting for her life. Evan followed the alien child through the twisting forest paths, but every step brought a new wave of unease. The deeper they went, the darker everything became. The glowing plants grew fewer. The air grew heavier. Even the sounds of the forest, the usual hums and soft animal calls, went silent. Something was wrong here. Deeply wrong. The child kept glancing back, terrified he might stop following. Please, human, hurry. My mom, she is not strong like you, the child whispered, its voice breaking. Evan forced his breath to stay steady. He had trained for dangerous missions, but rescuing an alien mother from an unknown trap was far from normal. Still, he couldn't ignore the desperate fear in the child's eyes. Just keep leading the way, Evan said gently, but inside he was fighting doubt. Was this a setup? Was something using the child as bait? The strange growls behind them felt too close, too consistent. He stopped for a moment and scanned the trees. Something moved. A shadow. Tall, thin, fast. Evan's hand went to his sidearm. He didn't draw it yet, but he kept it ready. Why are there traps here? Evan asked. Who puts them? The child shook its head fast. I don't know, human. The traps were not here before, not until the Dark Ones came. The Dark Ones? Evan repeated. The child nodded nervously. They hide, they watch, they place traps for us. Evan felt a cold twist in his stomach. This was no simple rescue. There were intelligent beings hunting here. Do the Dark Ones look like me? He asked. No, the child said quickly. You are bright. They are empty. Empty? Evan wanted to ask what that meant, but suddenly the child gasped. There! The child cried, pointing ahead. A faint red glow pulsed through the trees like a heartbeat. Evan felt his own heart quicken. They moved closer. The air around them buzzed with static energy. Evan's hair rose on the back of his neck. Then he saw it. A clearing, a large metal trap, and an alien woman lying inside it. The trap looked like two curved metal jaws connected by glowing red energy. Sparks jumped across the edges, creating a cage of crackling force. The alien woman's limbs were caught between the glowing sections. Her skin, pale green like her child's, was fading to gray. The child ran forward with a cry. Mom, Mom, I brought a human. He will help. The mother opened her eyes just a little. Her voice was barely a whisper. Child, stay back. The trap burns. Evan stepped closer, but could feel the heat from several feet away. This was advanced technology, far beyond anything the child species could make. He crouched and examined the trap carefully. Whoever built this knew exactly what they were doing, he murmured. The child grabbed his sleeve. Can you free her, human? Evan took a slow breath. I'll try. He reached toward the glowing bars. Zap! A surge of energy shot through the air and struck his hand like lightning. Evan jerked back, teeth clenched in pain. The child gasped and covered its mouth. Human. I'm fine, Evan said, shaking his hand. But this trap is dangerous. He pulled out his scanner. The screen filled with red warnings. Energy levels too high. Unknown tech. Destabilizing field. Whatever this was, it wasn't from this world. Someone had brought this technology here. Someone who wanted to capture, not kill, but why? Before Evan could think further, the forest behind them rustled with heavy footsteps. Not one, not two, many. Evan stiffened. The child grabbed his pant leg, eyes wide with terror. They're coming, the child whispered. The Dark Ones, they always come when the trap closes. Evan's grip tightened around his flashlight. He finally drew his sidearm. A soft click echoed in the quiet clearing. Stay behind me, he said calmly. The child obeyed immediately. Footsteps grew closer, slow, deliberate, hunting. Evan aimed a weapon toward the trees, but the forest was too dark, too silent. like it was holding its breath. Then a shape appeared between the trees, tall, thin, wrapped in a dark cloak. That seemed to swallow the light dot. It stepped forward without fear. Its face was hidden in shadow. And when it spoke, the voice was cold and emotionless. "Leave the trap, human. This is not your concern." The child whimpered and hid behind Evan. Evan stood firm. He didn't know who this being was. He didn't know how many more were hiding in the trees. But he knew one thing. He was not leaving a dying mother behind. The dark figure stood at the edge of the clearing like a shadow torn from the night. Its cloak fluttered even though there was no wind. Evan kept his weapon raised, his body tense but steady. The alien child clung to his leg, shaking but refusing to run. The figure took one step forward. "Leave," it said again, voice calm but sharp like a blade. "The trap is ours. The creature inside belongs to us." Evan narrowed his eyes. "She's not an object," he replied firmly. "She's a living being. She's dying. I'm not leaving her." The figure tilted its head slightly, as if studying him. "You are human," it said. "You interfere with things you do not understand." Evan kept his aim steady. "And you hunt innocent people," he answered. The figure did not move. The forest did not move. Even the glowing plants seemed frozen. Then very slowly, the figure raised one long arm and pointed at the trap. She was warned. Her people were warned, but they did not listen. Their kind steps where they should not. The child gasped. "That is a lie. We only walk in our forest. You put traps everywhere. You hurt us for no reason." The dark figure remained calm. "Everything has a reason." Evan took a step forward, his voice hard. "Then tell me your reason." The figure paused. For the first time, Evan sensed hesitation. Almost confusion. "You would not understand." "Try me," Evan said. But instead of answering, the dark figure suddenly turned its head. Something else was moving in the forest. A rustle of leaves. A soft metallic click. More of them. More shadows. More hunters. The child clutched Evan's arm. "Human, please. Help her before they come closer." Evan nodded and turned back to the trap. The alien mother was breathing weakly now. Her chest rose and fell in tiny, painful motions. Her glowing skin flickered, as if her life was a light slowly going out. "Hang on," Evan whispered. "I'll get you out." He knelt beside the trap again. The heat radiating from the glowing red bars burned his skin even from a distance. The energy pulsed like a heartbeat. Slow, strong, dangerous. Evan activated his wrist scanner. The screen filled with lines of alien code and flashing warnings. "What kind of tech is this?" he muttered. "Not from this planet. Not from any system we know." The child crouched next to him, wiping tears from its eyes. "Can you free her?" Evan studied the mechanism carefully. The trap was built with layered energy fields. A wrong move could make the field collapse inward, crushing everything inside. But Evan was smart. Smart enough to survive years of missions. Smart enough to fix broken tech with nothing but scrap. He pulled open his tool pouch. "Maybe," he said. "But I need you to be brave." The child nodded quickly, desperate. "I will do anything, human. Just tell me." "Hold this light steady," Evan said, giving the child a small flashlight. The child, hands shaking, pointed the beam at the metal joints. Evan leaned closer and adjusted his scanner, searching for structural weak points. He tapped the energy readings, calculated the force needed, and prepared to disable the trap's power flow. But before he could start, snap, a sharp metallic sound echoed behind him. The dark figure had taken another step closer. "You will fail," the figure said softly, "and all three of you will die." Evan didn't turn. "I'll take my chances." He placed a shock absorption gel pack over the glowing hinge joint. The gel bubbled and hissed as the heat tried to evaporate it. Evan pressed his palm against the gel, ignoring the sting. He whispered, "Come on, hold." A spark leaped from the trap and shot up his arm. He gritted his teeth but didn't. "Pull back." The child cried out. "Human, stop, it hurts you." Evan shook his head. "If I stop, she dies." He adjusted the gel, forcing the energy to spread thin. The red glow around the trap flickered. Once, twice. The alien mother's eyes opened weakly. She looked at Evan with fear and hope. "You, human, run. They will kill you." Evan gave her a small, determined smile. "Not today." He pushed the final clamp. The trap shook violently, bright sparks flying into the air. The energy field wavered like a dying flame. The dark figure took another step forward, voice rising. "For the first time, stop. You do not know what you are doing." Evan slammed his fist onto the hinge. Crack! The glowing bars flickered, blinked, dimmed. Then one side of the trap collapsed, opening a narrow gap, not enough to escape, but enough to try. The alien child reached toward its mother, hope bursting from its eyes, but the forest roared suddenly, the sound of many dark hunters approaching fast. Evan stood up slowly, breathing hard. He had weakened the trap, but the real danger was now walking out of the trees. The forest trembled as more footsteps echoed through the dark trees. Slow, heavy, too many to count. Evan tightened his grip on his sidearm, his breath steady, but his heart pounding. The alien child clung to his leg, while the injured mother lay half-freed, gasping softly. The red glow of the trap flickered weakly now, thanks to Evan's work, but she still couldn't escape. Not without more help. And there wasn't much time left. The first dark hunter stepped into the clearing, then another, and another. Soon, 5 cloaked figures surrounded the edges of the clearing. Their movements were smooth and unnatural, like they were gliding rather than walking. Their cloaks sucked in the light around them, making the forest look darker. Evan's pulse quickened. He had seen dangerous creatures before, but nothing like these. The original hunter, the one who had spoken earlier, stepped forward. "You have made a foolish choice, human," it said. Evan didn't lower his weapon. "And you made a mistake when you trapped an innocent family." The figure tilted its head, almost curious. "Innocent? You do not understand what they are." The child shouted angrily, "We are not bad. We just live here." The hunter ignored the child and lifted its arm. A thin, glowing blade formed from its sleeve, silent, sharp, deadly. Evan raised his weapon higher. "You take one more step," he warned, "and I'll shoot." The hunters didn't stop. They moved slowly but confidently, as if unafraid of anything he could do. Evan stepped in front of the child and the trapped mother. He kept his weapon steady, eyes moving from one enemy to the next. He wasn't sure how many bullets he had left. He wasn't sure bullets would even work, but he wasn't backing down. One hunter finally spoke. "There is no need for violence, human. Move aside. The creature in the trap belongs to us." Evan gritted his teeth. "She's a living person. She doesn't belong to anyone." A cold silence fell. The air felt heavy, too heavy. Finally, the leading hunter said, "Very well." It took one step closer, then another. The glowing blade hummed with energy. Evan fired. The shot cracked through the forest, echoing loudly. A bright spark bounced off the hunter's cloak. The bullet didn't pierce it, but it pushed the hunter back a step. The hunters froze. There. Heads snapped toward Evan in unison. The child gasped. For the first time, the hunters looked surprised. Evan aimed again. "Next one goes through your head," he said, even though he wasn't sure if it could. The forest went silent again. The hunters whispered to each other in a strange, metallic language. Their voices sounded like scraping metal and broken static. The alien mother weakly reached out toward Evan. "Human, leave us. Please, you cannot fight them." Evan glanced back at her briefly. "I didn't come this far to walk away now." The leading hunter stepped forward, slower this time. You cannot protect them. You do not know what they are. Their kind carries danger. The mother must be taken. The child cried louder, tears glowing like tiny stars. No, you hurt us. We didn't do anything. Evan placed a hand on the child's shoulder. It's okay, I'm here. The hunters began circling, trying to trap Evan from all sides. He stepped backward, positioning himself in front of the alien family. He kept talking to buy time. What do you want with them? Why trap the mother? The leading hunter responded without emotion. The mother carries a rare energy inside her body. Energy we need. If she dies, the energy dies with her. We will extract it. Evan felt a chill. These hunters weren't killers for sport. They were collectors, harvesters. The child screamed. You can't take her energy. You will kill her. The hunter only nodded. Yes. Evan's jaw tightened. He raised his weapon again. If you want her, you come through me. The hunters moved. 4 of them lunged forward, cloaks opening like wings. Evan fired again and again. Sparks flashed off their armor like cloaks. But the shots slowed them, pushed them back. The child held the flashlight like a small sword, pointing it at the hunters, shaking but trying to be brave. Evan used the few seconds of space he had and ran to the trap. He tore open his pack, grabbing a shock cutter. He slammed it against the weakened hinge. BZZZT. Sparks exploded. The red glow flickered, then died. The trap snapped open fully. Move! Evan shouted. He pulled the alien mother out, her body limp and weak. The child helped, pulling her arm gently. Behind them, the hunters screamed, a horrible mechanical sound, and charged. Evan turned, lifting his weapon, ready to fight again. But something else moved in the trees, something big. Something not hunter, and not human. The forest shook as a new threat appeared, stepping into the clearing. The ground shook again, harder this time. Leaves fell from the glowing trees. Even the hunters paused, turning their heads toward the sound. Whatever was coming was larger than any of them, large enough to make the earth tremble with each step. Evan stood protectively in front of the alien mother and child, breathing fast, weapon raised. The child clung to his sleeve. Human, what is that? I don't know, Evan whispered. But he didn't move an inch. The hunters stepped back, forming a loose circle. Their cloaks shifted as if blown by an invisible wind. The lead hunter hissed, the beast approaches. Move aside, human, or you will die with them. Evan ignored the threat. He positioned himself between the alien family and the hunters, ready to fight. The trees parted. Something huge stepped into the clearing. It was a massive creature taller than any human, with thick armor-like plates on its body. Its skin shimmered like metal, and its eyes glowed bright yellow. With every breath it took, steam rose from its nostrils. The alien child gasped and hid behind Evan. That is a forest guardian. The mother, weak but conscious, whispered, The guardians protect the forest. But the hunters stole their eggs. Now the guardians see everyone as enemy. Evan swallowed hard. Great. Another enemy. The hunters raised their glowing weapons. The lead hunter spoke sharply. Human, your interference has brought danger. The guardian will kill you all. Evan's jaw tightened. I'm pretty sure that's your fault, not mine. The hunters ignored him and fired at the guardian. Blue energy bolts shot through the air and hit the creature's armored skin, but the creature barely flinched. It roared. A deep, earth-shaking sound that made Evan's bones vibrate. Then it charged. The hunters scattered, jumping aside lightning fast. The guardian's heavy footsteps crushed the ground, leaving cracks in the soil. Evan crouched low, shielding the mother and child as dust flew everywhere. He shouted, Stay down! The hunters leaped onto the guardian's back, stabbing it with their glowing blades. Sparks flew. The creature roared and twisted violently, throwing 2 hunters against a tree. Evan used the moment of chaos to grab the alien mother's arm. "We need to move." The child helped, trembling but determined. "Human where? They are everywhere." Evan scanned the area fast. A narrow path lay behind some twisted roots, a path small enough for the mother and child, but too tight for the guardian or hunters. "There," Evan said. "We go through that passage." But before they could move, the lead hunter appeared. In front of them, blocking the path. It raised its glowing blade. "You escape nowhere. Give us the mother." Evan stepped forward without fear. "No," the hunter tilted its head. "You will die for her?" Evan looked at the child, its small eyes full of fear and hope. He looked at the mother, weak, injured, but alive. Then he looked back at the hunter. "I'll die before I let you take her." The hunter hesitated. For the first time, its cold voice seemed uncertain. "Human, why?" "Because that's what humans do," Evan said softly. "We protect." The moment hung still. Then Evan moved. He grabbed a flare from his belt, pulled the pin, and slammed it against the ground. A blinding red light exploded, filling the clearing. The hunters recoiled, cloaks flickering. The guardian roared, confused and blinded. Evan didn't wait. "Run!" he shouted. He grabbed the mother under her shoulders. The child held her other arm, and together they ran toward the narrow forest passage. The hunters hissed angrily and tried to follow, but the guardian, still blinded, charged wildly, blocking them from reaching Evan. Evan didn't look back. He focused only on moving forward, stumbling through roots and branches, pushing the alien family through the tight gap. The mother collapsed once they reached the other side of the passage. Evan fell to his knees beside her, gasping for breath. The child hugged its mother tightly, crying softly but relieved. Behind them, echoes of battle filled the forest, roars, screams, and blasts of energy. The child whispered, voice shaking, "Human, you saved us." Evan finally let himself breathe. "For now," he said, "but this isn't over. The hunters won't stop." The mother opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was weak but clear. "Human, why did you risk your life?" Evan gave a faint smile. "Because you needed help." The trees rustled. A new sound approached, not a hunter, not the guardian. Something else was coming, something that would change everything. Evan stood again, weapon ready. The danger wasn't finished. Not even close. Asterisk, the sound that approached was softer than the guardian's roar, yet heavier than the hunter's footsteps. Evan kept his weapon raised, his chest rising and falling quickly. The alien mother lay weak on the ground, breathing slowly. The child sat beside her, holding her hand tightly. Evan whispered, "Stay behind me," and stepped forward carefully. The bushes trembled, branches cracked softly. Something moved with slow, steady steps, almost cautious. Evan aimed at the shadows. "Come out," he said, voice firm, "or I shoot." A small, glowing creature stepped into the dim light. Evan blinked in surprise. It wasn't a hunter. And it wasn't a guardian. It was a forest creature, round, soft, and shimmering with gentle green light. Its eyes were wide and calm. Unlike other creatures, it didn't hide or run. Instead, it floated forward like a quiet lantern in the night. The alien child gasped. A spirit guide. The mother, weak but awake, nodded slowly. They only appear when danger is great, or when a path must be shown. The spirit guide pulsed with soft light. It floated toward Evan, circled him once, then drifted to the alien mother. Its glow brightened, warming the air around them. Evan lowered his weapon a little. "Is it helping her?" The child nodded, eyes wide. "Spirit guides heal and show safe ways through the forest." The guide's light wrapped around the mother like a warm blanket. Her breathing eased. The gray tint on her skin softened, becoming faintly green again. Not fully healed, but stable. Evan exhaled in relief. Good, good. Now we just need to move before the hunters break free, the mother whispered. Human. Thank you. But we cannot stay here. The hunters know every part of the forest. They will return. Evan stood. Then let's get you out. He opened his pack and took out a small emergency stim injector. This will help you walk, he said gently. The mother hesitated. Zzz. It's safe for my kind. It boosts energy. It won't harm you, Evan assured her. After a brief moment, she nodded. Evan injected her arm. Her body glowed brighter for a moment, and she sat up slowly, breathing easier. I can move, she whispered. The spirit guide floated in front of Evan, flashing 3 times, then drifted toward a narrow path between tall, twisted trees. The child whispered excitedly. It wants us to follow. Evan motioned for them to get up. We move now. Stay close. Don't look back. They followed the glowing creature into the tight forest passage. The trees arched above them, forming a tunnel of shadows and faint lights. Behind them, far in the clearing, a deep roar echoed, then a metallic scream. Then more footsteps. The hunters were breaking free. Evan quickened his pace. We need to get deeper into the forest before they reach the tunnel. The spirit guide's glow became brighter, showing the safest places to step. Evan noticed hidden traps, roots that could collapse, glowing plants that released poison. Mist. The guide avoided each one perfectly. The child whispered, amazed. Without the guide, we would have fallen into so many dangers. Let's thank it later, Evan said quietly. First we survive. As they moved, the forest began to change. The air felt warmer. The lights on the plants glowed brighter. Strange symbols appeared. On the trees, symbols similar to the ones near the trap, but older. Cleaner, untouched. The mother touched one of the symbols gently. These are ancient, older than our people, older than the hunters. This is sacred ground. Evan looked around cautiously. Will it keep us safe? Maybe. But the hunters do not fear the sacred anymore. They only desire power. The spirit guide stopped floating and hovered in front of a large cracked stone. Then it pulsed rapidly, almost a warning. Evan listened carefully. A soft hum vibrated through the ground. A hum he recognized. He turned to the mother. That sound, do you hear it? The mother's expression darkened. Yes, more hunters. Many of them. The child trembled, holding her tightly. Human. What do we do? Evan checked his remaining gear. A few tools. 2 energy shots. Low battery in his flashlight. A half-broken scanner. Not enough for a war, but enough to protect them for a little longer. We keep moving, Evan said firmly. And we trust the guide. The spirit guide floated upward, glowing like a small star. It drifted toward a narrow crevice between 2 giant roots. That way? Evan asked. The guide pulsed again. Evan helped the mother through the tight passage. The child squeezed through. Then Evan crawled after them. Just as he entered the crevice, a loud voice echoed behind them. Human. You cannot run forever, the lead hunter. They were close. Too close. Evan gripped his weapon. His breath sharpened. His mind focused. We're not done yet, he whispered. The spirit guide's glow brightened again, showing the next path. Deeper into danger, deeper into mystery, and maybe deeper into hope. Evan squeezed through the narrow crevice, pushing aside roots and loose stones as he followed the alien mother and her child. The spirit guide's soft green glow made the cramped path visible, but the air was tight and warm. Each movement felt harder, each breath sharper. Behind them, the lead hunter's voice echoed through the tunnel entrance. Human. You cannot hide. The mother belongs to us. Her energy belongs to us. Evan gritted his teeth. You'll never touch them again, he whispered. The mother leaned on a thick root, catching her breath. The child hugged her tightly, shaking with fear and exhaustion. Human, the mother said softly. You should leave us. The hunters will not stop. They hunt energy. And they hunt you now. Evan shook his head. I'm not leaving you. We finish this together. The mother looked at him with weak, glowing eyes. You risk everything for us. Evan gave a small smile. That's what humans do. The spirit guide pulsed brighter, urging them forward. Evan helped the mother walk as the child guided her other arm. Slowly, they crawled out of the crevice and stepped into a strange, hidden clearing. The air felt different here, cool, calm, and full of faint lights drifting like tiny stars. Giant stone pillars rose from the ground, covered in ancient symbols. In the center stood an old tree with glowing roots spreading like veins into the earth. The child gasped. This is the heart tree. I thought it was only a story. The mother placed a trembling hand on the glowing bark. No, it is real, and it is powerful. Evan looked around cautiously. What does it do? It protects, the mother whispered. It gives life to the forest, and it hides those who seek safety. For a moment, Evan felt hope. A real chance to escape, but the hope didn't last. A loud crack echoed behind them. Branches snapped. Stone shook. The hunters had found the crevice. The lead hunter's cold voice cut through the air. Your hiding ends here. Evan pulled the mother and child behind the heart tree. Stay low. Don't move, he whispered. The spirit guide floated forward and positioned itself between Evan and the hunters. Its light turned brighter, almost blinding. The hunters stepped into the clearing, their cloaks flickering like dark fire. There were 6 of them now. The lead hunter pointed its blade toward the mother. Give her to us now. Evan stepped forward, blocking their view. No, the hunter tilted its head. You fight for a species not your own. You protect the weak. You risk your life for strangers. Why? Because it's what makes us human, Evan replied calmly. The hunters moved to attack. The spirit guide burst into a brilliant green light. The entire clearing glowed. Symbols on the stone pillars flashed awake. The heart tree pulsed, sending waves of energy rippling through the ground. The hunters stumbled back. What magic is this? One hissed. The mother whispered urgently. Human. The heart tree amplifies energy. If you place your device on the ground, the tree can boost it. Evan looked at his gear, the flare launcher, the broken scanner, the near-dead battery pack. One idea flashed in his mind. Dangerous. But their only chance. He knelt quickly, pulled out his energy pack, and connected it to the half-broken scanner. Sparks flickered. The device beeped wildly. The child asked, What are you doing, human? Making a wall, Evan said. He pressed the scanner to the glowing root of the heart tree. The entire clearing exploded with light. The hunters screamed as a wave of green energy surged outward. Their cloaks burned. Their weapons sparked. They stumbled back, thrown off their feet. The lead hunter managed to stand barely. Its voice trembled with anger and fear. You, human, you used ancient energy. You do not know the power you touch. Evan stepped forward, eyes hard. And you don't know what humans can do when someone needs saving. The heart tree pulsed again. The hunters retreated, fading into the forest shadows. The lead hunter spoke one last time. This is not over. The mother's energy will be ours. Then they vanished. Evan fell back to his knees, breathing heavily. The spirit guide dimmed to a gentle glow and floated near the alien mother, who now breathed easier. Her skin glowed brighter than before. The heart tree had restored her strength. The child rushed to Evan and hugged him tightly. Human, you saved her. You saved us. Evan smiled wearily. We saved each other. The mother placed her hand on his shoulder. You showed great courage. You're kind. Your heart is stronger than we believed. If your people and mine ever meet, they will know the truth. Humans are protectors. Evan helped the family stand. The forest around them felt peaceful again. the danger fading as they walked away from the heart tree. The child looked up at Evan with wide, hopeful eyes. Human, will you stay with us? Evan looked toward the sky where the stars shone through the trees. He didn't know what challenges were coming next. He didn't know why the hunters wanted the mother's energy. But he knew one thing. Yes, he said softly, I'll stay. At least until your people are safe. The child smiled. The mother nodded gratefully. And the spirit guide drifted ahead, lighting their path toward a safer tomorrow. The forest, once dangerous, now felt like a place of new beginnings, and Evan walked forward, not as a stranger, but as a protector, a human hero in a world that had almost forgotten hope.